Check 1, 2. Oh, testing audio. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Testing audio. Check 1, 2.
Hi, Counselor Breyer. Can we test your audio?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Morning, Counselor Breyer. Can we test your audio, please?
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Thanks.
Check 1, 2. Testing audio. Check 1, 2.
Yeah, yeah. No, are you expecting any?
Good morning, Counselor Fortini. Can we check your audio, please?
Yes, good morning. I'll be for about 10 minutes late.
Sorry, you're
Yep.
coming through faint.
I'm coming in 10 minutes late. Thank you.
The sound isn't great, Counselor.
I'm coming in a couple of minutes late. I'm coming in.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, Councillor Plushy. Can we test your audio, please?
Morning.
Did you hear anything? Good morning, Councillor Plushy. Can we test your audio?
Morning, everybody.
You're not coming through clear.
Okay, as we begin today's meeting, we'd like to acknowledge that we are gathering here today on the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit and Haudenosaunee and Wendat nations who have called this land home since time immemorial. Please all rise for the singing of our national anthem, to be followed by a moment of personal reflection.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for stand on guard for thee.
I see we have in attendance Councillor Medeiros, Councillor Power, Deputy Mayor Singh, Councillor Keenan, Councillor Basante, Councillor Santos, and then online we have,
To Mayor Brown, online we have Councillor Fortini, Councillor Brar, and I believe Councillor
and Councillor Torres here as well.
Councillor Palashi.
Councillor Fletcher.
Yes.
Okay. This takes us to approval of the agenda, and the clerk has a number of additions.
To you, Mayor Brown. Following items have been added to revised agendas. 6.3, proclamations for Christian Heritage Month has been added. 7.2, delegation regarding the current state of extortions, delegation and presentation added. 7.3, delegation regarding 507 Balmoral Drive, Ward 7. 2 delegations have been added. 8.1, government relations matters, presentation added and further revised. 10.2.1, staff report amendments to administrative penalty system penalties, report added. 14.2, correspondence regarding the new comprehensive zoning bylaw, urban design guidelines and driveway standards. A 4th correspondence item was added. 10.3.2, staff report, request to begin procurement for the supply of VMware subscription software licensing, report added. Minutes of the Planning and Development Committee of December 1st were added. Minutes of the Brampton Sports Hall of Fame December 4th were added. 18.14, a bylaw was added to adopt an OP amendment for Candavon Limited. And 18.15 is the corresponding comprehensive zoning bylaw amendment. 18.16, a bylaw was added to amend the administrative penalty AMPS bylaw. And 18.7, a bylaw was added to amend the administrative penalties bylaw, non-parking.
Okay, this takes us to some additions. I see we have Deputy Mayor Singh.
Thank you, Mayor Brown, and I see our partners from the Peel Regional Police here and Deputy Chief Milojevic. So if we could just vary the order to make sure they go first,
Okay.
and then we'll bring up government relations together with that. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Medeiros.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to hold item 12.2, committee minutes regarding the surplus of declaration of Rutherford.
Okay. Councillor Basante.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to add an in-camera discussion item under Section 239, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, with regards to item 14.1 in the BIA.
Okay. Councillor Keenan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to add a discussion item on Christian Heritage Month.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Singh, seconded by Councillor Keenan to approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor? Motion carries. This takes us to declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Does any member have a declaration of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act for any matter to be considered on today's agenda? Seeing none, the clerk will so note. We have the following City Council minutes before us today. Minutes, City Council regular meeting November 19th. I have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Singh, seconded by Councillor Keenan to approve the minutes as published and circulated. All those in favor? Motion carries. This takes us to our consent motion, and I will read the items to be held. 8.1 Government Relations Matters. Hold. Staff report, amendments to administrative systems penalties. Staff report, request to begin procurement public sector network PSN. Staff report, request to begin procurement supply of VMware subscription software licensing, maintenance, and support for a 5-year period. 12.1 Minutes Committee of Council November 12th. 12.2 Minutes of Committee of Council November 26th. 12.3 Planning and Development Committee Minutes December 1st, 2025. That's held, in my notes for 7.3.
7.3, they have a possible delegation. If there are no questions for the delegate, then they'll withdraw their
Okay.
delegation. They're only here if
Okay, so I guess that's on consent then. 12.4 minutes, audit committee. Yes. If there's questions, do you have, if you can hold it if you have questions.
Motion passed for delegation for the last planning meeting for Balmoral.
Through Mayor Brown, there was a motion at the last Planning and Development meeting requesting that the property owner, developer,
Management.
come to this meeting just in case there are questions about that item. And he, I believe, is here available to answer questions. But if council has no questions, he has no.
So Councilor Fedin, do you have questions?
Well, I just wanted to hear the delegation.
There's no delegation, it's to answer questions. If you have questions.
No.
Okay, that's on consent. 12.5 Brampton Minutes Sports Hall of Fame.
Sorry,
12
sir.
Sorry.
Is there a second delegation now added for 12 point, or for 12.3? There's a second one for 7.3. Is Tanya Burke here? Okay.
Okay, so we do have a new delegation
we'll have
that's
to
not
hold
on the agenda.
12.3.
Do we need to add that to the agenda?
I believe they were added to the revised,
Revised, okay.
not,
Okay, 12.5 Brampton Sports Hall of Fame on consent. 14.1 correspondence from downtown Brampton Business Improvement Area. This was held by Councillor Vasante. 14.2 correspondence, new comprehensive zoning bylaw, urban design guidelines. 16.1 referred matters list. 19.1 closed session minutes, City Council, November 19th. 19.2 closed session minutes, Committee of Council. 19.3 closed session minutes, Audit Committee. 19.4 closed session minutes. 19.4 Sports Hall of Fame Committee. 19.5 closed report, revenue generating messaging opportunities. 19.6 hold for discussion. 19.7 options for in-kind advertising support. 19.8 2026 budget update. Okay. I have a motion moved by Deputy Mayor Singh, seconded by Councillor Keenan to approve the consent motion. All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, we have two announcements today, and then we're going to the police presentation. Or was your intention to move it up ahead of the announcements? Okay. Okay, so for the first announcement is the this is also held by the Deputy Mayor, and this was the incredible success of the Radiothon. So Deputy Mayor, if you want to introduce the delegation.
Thank you, and I want to say thank you to the whole team for the remarkable work you are doing. You know, I know many of you run businesses, and then on top of that do your community work through the Radiothon, but you miraculously find time to think about our local community here in Brampton and contributing to an important project. We know we've had a healthcare crisis. You are well aware. I know many of you participated in raising your voice on the healthcare crisis in Brampton, but obviously the Peel Memorial second phase with an emergency room is a significant step towards addressing that crisis, and for you to step up to the plate and work overtime to contribute funds and volunteer your time, I think is remarkable. So thank you for everything you have done on behalf of myself, on behalf of council. Thank you for standing by our community. Yeah, if somebody wants to come forward to speak, you can speak for 2 minutes.
And share with us the results of this Radiothon. I know it's had a big impact. Ken Mayhew can't get this hospital built unless we get the generosity of the community. 10% is on us and all equipment under the provincial healthcare funding formula. So over to you, Ken.
Thank you, Mayor Brown, and thank you, Deputy Mayor Brown, for championing this initiative and actually bringing it forward to our attention. For any who may not know, my name is Ken Mayhew. I'm the President and CEO of the William Oster L. System Foundation, joined by as Deputy Mayor Singh said, the people who did all the work. It's quite an extraordinary notion when the community comes together for common purpose, despite backgrounds. And I'm delighted to let you know today that the Seva for Osler Gurpurab Radiothon was a tremendous success. As I said, thanks to our Deputy Mayor, City of Brampton team member Pram Jewett, and Harjinder from the station who led the efforts on the part of the station. I want to come back to history a little bit because I do believe in history, and Mayor Brown, you've heard this before. 100 years ago, not someday, but 100 years ago, a group of similar volunteers got together and decided to build Brampton's first hospital. They built the hospital by raising $2,000 for the city of Brampton with its burgeoning 3,000 member population. The city of Brampton had 3,000 members in 1925. Sometimes history will repeat itself. And now we have a group of volunteers who've come together, as you heard, with all their hard work, their extra efforts, they're collecting pledges to raise funds once again. And this could not come at a more exciting time. Pia Memorial Phase 2 is happening. It's a real thing. I was in the Premier's office on Monday of this week. He says it's his highest priority. You're going to see building on site. You're going to see cranes on site. You're going to see significant activity in 2026. As Mayor Brown said, that can't happen fast enough. We have a healthcare emergency. Perhaps it's passed us by, but certainly we have a great need for more beds than we currently have. We need the bed capacity yesterday. And just like 100 years ago, when we celebrate the opening of that hospital, it'll be the people behind us who got that work done. And I just ask council, please, to join me in thanking them for all that work, the equipment, the facilities themselves. They're all self-funded, as we all know, and it takes more than words. It takes hard work. It takes people like Seva for Osler Gurpurab Radiothon to make it happen. Again, a tremendous success this year. These are somewhat tighter economic times. I'm sure you've seen charities come to delegate who've had more difficult times. And yet this year, the Radiothon, through everyone's combined hard works, raised over $90,000. $90,000 raised. We got another $500 donation walking in here today from someone. So that makes it $90,500. And if I could add everybody just please to take a moment to acknowledge the tremendous work of the group volunteers to pull this off. Congratulations. Well done. And I don't know if anybody from the delegation would like to add some words.
Honorable Kulinder China, please go forward.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor Hakirat, and council members. I am pleased to share a brief update on behalf of our third Gurpurab Radiothon, held in partnership with the William Osler Health System Foundation, the City of Brampton, and the dedicated host and producer of 1350 AM Radio. I would like to acknowledge our great host and producer. First, Radio Southeast Voice, hosted by me, Radio Khabarsar, Jagdish Grewal ji and Sajandeep Singh, Pravasi Media, Rajinder Saini ji, Virasat Media, Biljinder Tambad, Rang Pardesi, Sukhdev Thapar, and Rajveer Kaur, Ekam Media, Amarjit Rai and Ekam Kaur Rai, The Harjinder Gill Show, Harjinder Singh Gill, Kamaldeep Kaur Gill, Kuljit Singh Gill, and Sahid Singh Gill. Radio Suneha program, Prabjot Singh Mahal, Sandali Pawan, Gurjeevan Singh, Asma Slim Radio, Radio Aha, hosted by Shinu, Wagde Pani, Jaswant Vasal ji, te Radio Humsafar, Jasveer Singh Sandhu. The Radiothon was scheduled to celebrate the life and teaching of Sri Guru Nanak Dev ji, and this year it took place on October 29th. A special acknowledgement goes to several individuals who played an essential role behind the scene. Prabjot Kaur Kanth, our binding force, Isha Tripathi, volunteer management, Kuldeep Singh Goli, our sports system, Irfan Siddiqui ji, Shalita, Sajdeep Singh, Harvinder Singh Work. I want to sincere thanks the show producer, host, community members, local business, our show sponsor, donors and volunteers, whose compassion and dedication made this Radiothon a success. The Gurupurb Radiothon was a wonderful reminder of what we can accomplish when our community comes together. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Thanks for.
Now, we just want to thank you again. Maybe we take a photo with council and these special radio personalities in our community. I know there was a challenge a few years ago of what we can do for the hospital, and boy, have you stepped up. It's not an easy lifting to build a new hospital. It's a project that, if you look at the healthcare spending, we're well over $2 billion. This is heavy, heavy lifting with a 10% local share. So thank you so much for what you're doing. Can I ask council members to join me in taking a photo with some of the favorite voices in our community? Okay, yeah. Councillor Power has held the next item. That's the 2025 Accessibility Awards. Sylvia Ingham, Accessibility Coordinator, please come forward to the podium to make your remarks. And I believe there's an exciting award to be presented.
Good morning. Through you, Mayor Brown, my name is Sylvia Ingham. I am an Accessibility Coordinator in the Clerk's Office. It is my pleasure to announce the winners of the 2025 Accessibility Awards. The Accessibility Awards is a civic recognition program that identifies individuals, businesses, programs, and organizations in the City of Brampton that demonstrate a commitment to accessibility and the inclusion of people with disabilities. This year we have 3 winners. Next slide, please. And in the resident category, we have Angela Cece. Angela is a devoted educator who has worked in the school system for over 20 years. She's committed to building inclusive learning environments and supports her students in gaining confidence and independence that enables them to strive in the school setting and in the community. Angela also volunteers as a moderator in online accessibility and education communities. The next category is the business category, and we have Enabled Talent, Amandeep Singh. Amandeep is an entrepreneur and co-founder of Enabled Talent. Enabled Talent is an inclusive AI-powered hiring platform that breaks down barriers and creates opportunities for people with disabilities to participate in the work environment through tools like voice-guided applications and sign language onboarding. The platform is used to match people with organizations that recognize the person's skills and help them thrive in the workplace. The next category is the community organization category. We have Hope Indoors with Marlene and Jermaine Spence. They are a community organization founded by Marlene and her husband Jermaine. The organization is dedicated to supporting adolescents and adults with developmental disabilities, including autism, Down syndrome, and learning disabilities. It provides a nurturing environment that focuses on life skills, social integration, and community involvement, and empowers people with disabilities to lead a more independent and fulfilling lives. Hope Indoors has partnered with Downtown BIA to create a cleanup program. Congratulations to the winners of this year's awards program. Next slide, please. We would also like to take a moment to thank all of the 2025 nominees that you see on the screen. Each nominee displays a commitment towards accessibility in their everyday work. Thank you and congratulations to everyone.
Councillor Power, I believe we have a presentation too. We have a. Yeah. Do we have the three winners here?
With 3 winners, yes.
Okay, great. Let's take a photo with council.
Okay.
Ask council's indulgence, Councillor Brar mentioned to me she intended to put the metamorphosis item to hold it, not to go on consent. Do we have 2/3 to reopen the agenda and allow that to be held? I see the 2/3. Councillor Brar, your request is approved. Okay. This takes us to our only proclamation. That's unusual. I only have one proclamation. And I'm going to ask Councillor Basante to read this proclamation out. And I'll tell you why. We had a phenomenal Christian Heritage Month flag raising and reception at the Rose Theatre. And the Rose Theatre, boy, was that packed. You know, Councillor Power, Councillor Keenan, Councillor Brar, you saw it. I've never seen it so full. The organization committee did a great job. But Councillor Basante wrote me that he was stuck trying to get back in time for the flag raising in traffic and difficult weather from Kingston, and he felt bad he was missing the flag raising. So today you have the honor of reading the proclamation because you weren't able to get there in time.
Thank you very much, Mayor. It is an honor. Thank you. Christian Heritage Month. Whereas in December, Christians around the world prepare for the annual celebrations commemorating the birth of Jesus Christ, also known as Christmas. During this time, Christian faith groups utilize literature, art, music, gastronomy, and architecture to tell the stories of Jesus and his compassion, love, acceptance, and the good news of the gospel he brought. It is the shared objective of Brampton faith groups to promote love, diversity, and inclusion. Brampton wishes to celebrate its role in creating and maintaining an open dialogue among people of different faiths, beliefs, and creeds. December is associated with the tradition of gift giving and the gathering of family, friends, and people of all faiths. Christian organizations and places of worship in Brampton offer religious services, unique events, and initiatives that highlight a strong Christian heritage during the month of December. Christian faith groups in Brampton embody the beautiful and diverse threads that mirror the Canadian social fabric. Therefore, I, Mayor Patrick Brown, on behalf of Brampton City Council, do hereby proclaim December 2025 as Christian Heritage Month in the city of Brampton.
Thank you, Councillor Vasante. I believe we took photos with the organizers on Sunday, so a photo will not be required now. But why don't we move up Councillor Keenan's motion? I believe he has a motion for Christian Heritage Month, moved by himself and Councillor Power.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. And just really quickly, just as you stated, the Rose Theatre was jam-packed, and it was fantastic. So I just have a motion here just to waive the fees like we do every year. So I just want to move that, seconded by Councillor Power. If we can just get this done, that would be great. We do it every year, so let's just continue this. Thanks.
All those in favor? Motion carries. This takes us to our next item, and that is a very important presentation from our Deputy Chief, Nick Milovich, on the topic of protecting our community in the current state of extortions. And just to say, as a bit of an introduction, Deputy Chief Milovich has been one of the country's leading voices when it comes to combating extortions. He's testified before the House of Commons on public safety issues, and I know when we had the meeting with Public Safety Canada, when Dominic LeBlanc was the minister, the cities of Surrey, of Edmonton, of Brampton that were feeling this pain, they were really following Nick's leadership on this in terms of raising this as a transnational crime issue. So we're blessed to have someone who is well informed on this topic as our Deputy Chief. And so I know Council will be and the public that will be here will be very interested in this presentation. And I also want to thank the Peel Regional Police on the issue of the Bishnoi gang. They spoke up about the important need to have a terrorist designation. I believe they were one of the first law enforcement agencies to point out this challenge of transnational crime. Obviously, Public Safety Canada accepted that. There was an announcement in the summer that they were designated as a terrorist organization, and there was many calls for this, but it really originated with the Peel Police as a point of a tool to combat the nefarious activities of Bishnoi in our city.
Excellent. And to start with, I would like to thank His Worship for the opportunity to provide this update along with Council. And, you know, in keeping with your opening remarks, what I would say is we have had some success in advocacy in filling the gaps that are creating this situation, but that certainly hasn't been as a police organization on our own. I believe His Worship and this Council have been incredible partners in helping us advocate for the change that's required to keep our community safer. So thank you for that. If we could turn to the first slide, please. Typical presentation would probably predict or suggest that we should end with this slide. But one of the first questions that I'm asked when we meet with our community members is, what is being done in terms of enforcement? So myself and Staff Superintendent David Kennedy wanted to come here and provide our community with an opportunity to understand what is happening in extortions, but from an enforcement perspective, on behalf of the police service, what we're doing to keep our community safe. Because that is our single objective goal. It's to protect our community as police of jurisdiction. So to date, our task force has laid a total of 267 charges. We have recovered and seized 26 firearms and made 48 arrests, exclusively as the result of extortions or extortion-related offenses. Next slide. This is the slide where I would like to spend a fair bit of time. I really do believe it paints a picture of what is happening within our community over the course of the last couple of years, but also what's being done in response to it. Towards the end of 2023, we started to see extortions grow. We saw an uptick at the end of the year. We were one of the first police services that created and formed an extortion task force. We were quick to react, and in 2023 we had a total of 319 overall extortions. I would point your attention to the lighter blue. the number 50 there. That is, and I think it's important for us to make a distinction between a general extortion or the extortions that are primarily focused and targeted towards our community, which very typically are oriented towards the owners of legitimate businesses, and demands for money are made from those people. So that is the blue, the light blue number that you see there. In 2023, we had 50. In 2024, we had a total of 490 extortions. At this time, our extortion task force was in full swing. We've had between 20 and 30 investigators full-time assigned to investigate extortions and protect our community and mitigate the risk that's caused by those threats and that crime. But again, I would point your attention to the lighter blue column. 153 of those extortions were oriented towards business owners. In 2025, we start to see the level of extortions come down, which generally speaking is in keeping with our crime rates here in Peel. Overall, our crime rate slowly reducing. But what we do see is the number of extortions that are oriented towards legitimate business owners continues to increase and has reached 172. And the reason why I feel that this slide is an interesting visual representation is because I want to provide the community with the reassurance that as a police service, we understand the impact that these extortions are carrying on our community. It creates anxiety, fear, and very legitimately so. But if I could direct your attention to the two lines, you will see, as we see the increase in extortions oriented towards business owners increase, we continue to see an increase in the number of charges that are laid. As the mayor mentioned, we see more extortions in Peel on a per capita basis, particularly oriented towards our business owners, than anywhere else in the country. But at the same time, we arrest and charge more people for these offenses than anywhere else in the country. The value of the resources that we have directed to this, and you'll see a figure there, it's, as I mentioned, between 20 and 30 investigators at a time, which represents an investment of over $8 million. What I would like to say to you is that is a conservative estimate. It doesn't even begin to reflect the investment that we've made as a police service, because there's splinter projects that occur during that. That investment number represents what we have exclusively devoted to investigating extortions. It doesn't capture alternative crimes or crimes that are happening in tandem that end up creating offshoot projects or the initial response of our uniformed folks. So again, very, very conservative estimate of over $8 million, but it's an estimate that, and you can see from the line there, continues to increase. As it continues to be a problem for our community, we will continue to invest in it and make sure that we do everything necessary in order to, one, hold the people accountable, responsible, as people expect from their police service. And by that, very simply, we arrest and charge a lot of people for extortions. And we'll do that in a way that's commensurate with what's happening with our community. And if I could just ask you to turn to the next slide. And this is a part where I really want to focus on, and you know, Mayor Brown alluded to this in his opening remarks. People expect police services to arrest and charge people responsible for committing crimes, particularly if they're targeting a certain community. What we've done, though, is a little bit more of what people, I think they expect, but we've become very, very good at it. In addition to arresting and charging people, like everybody expects police officers and police organizations to do, what we've looked for is the gaps and the opportunity that are creating those pressures that maybe aren't within our purview to direct. It's very easy for me to take those 20 and 30 investigators and say, this is what you're going to investigate. What can be more difficult is identifying the gaps that exist that are creating this problem, and then working with partners or leveraging our relationships in order to create the change necessary so our community experience less of those pressures. You know, extortions, they take the form of a variety of different things like arsons, shootings. All of those encapsulate what we might expect in extortions. But if I could ask you to next slide, please. Really, some of the reality with extortions is they are occurring at the rate that they are because of very similar causal factors that create other crimes. We talk as a police organization, and our chief has been very vocal on it, mayor, council, and our police services board. There are bail and justice reforms that are required in order to prevent people from re-victimizing and targeting our community. That exists within the priority of extortions. It exists within the priority of gender-based violence, home invasions, auto theft. There are gaps that occur in the system that are continuously taken advantage of by people who are looking to leverage those gaps to avoid the consequences of the system. So what our police services has done, in addition to the enforcement and what you would expect from a police service, and I have to say, and I'm not saying this on my own behalf, I'm saying it on behalf of our members, our police service is really, really good at doing investigations. We solve some of the biggest, most notable crimes. We have an incredible team behind us. It's something that has evolved and really is part of Peel Regional Police's culture. What we've refined over the course of the last couple of years is to advocate from people to fill the gaps that exist that are continuing to create the pressures for our community. We've had numerous conversations with federal ministers, numerous conversations really with all levels of government to point out what we see as the issues that are continuing to be taken advantage of by people who would like to come to our community and take advantage of our community. We are very deeply connected with international enforcement partners. Very regularly we're called upon by American enforcement agencies, federal enforcement agencies to not only share information, but share our approach. When we started the extortion task force, we were one of the first to reach out to federal agencies and explain to them, this isn't a conversation exclusively about Peel. This is a conversation that we need to have as a country, because the issues that are existing, that are creating it, are outside of our purview, and we need to bring other people along to begin addressing some of those issues. And again, we will continue those partnerships. They continue to make us more effective. Next slide. Brings us to the end of the presentation, but I've made a note here, and I started off this way, and I hope you've taken from the presentation. As a police organization, we will arrest and charge people that target our community. We're really, really good at that. But in order to make sure that they're not able to continue doing that, we need the advocacy. We need the support. That is really as advantageous to our community as the typical or traditional police actions that you would expect. And so, again, I would thank Mayor Brown. I would thank council. I struggle to believe that anywhere else in the country there is as engaged a city council that is willing to get not only behind their police service, but get behind the issues that are affecting their community and call out what those issues are and demand the change that's required so they're no longer issues. Thank you.
Thank you, and if my colleagues are okay, if I could start, even though I'm chairing, and if we could also bring up the motion as well. I do have a motion related to this with under government relations. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the discussion is okay. Okay. Perfect. First of all, Deputy Chief Milojevic, thank you for coming today. We appreciate it. I like the words you used at the end, that this is definitely an engaged council, not scared to advocate, whether things fall directly under the city of Brampton or whether they don't, whether it's our police services, whether it's the hospital. This council does not shy away to raise the voice of its residents. And today, it's not some abstract crime trend. We're talking about fear that is showing up to the front doors of our small businesses, whether it's phone calls to shop owners or threats whispered into family members who came to this country really just to seek safety and opportunity. And extortions in Peel are not hypothetical. It's escalating at an alarming rate, especially when we talk about business-related extortions. 50 in 2023, 153 in 2024, and 172 already in 2025. These aren't just statistics. This is intimidation turning into trauma, lost livelihoods, and sleepless nights, really, for our community members. These are, as you know, transnational criminal networks and governments, let's be honest, using digital tools, cross-border movement, and organized intimidation. We were happy to advocate with you for the Bishnoi gang to be declared a terrorist entity under the criminal code, which we know is active here. This group is responsible for shootings, arsons, murder, and systemic extortions, but we also know they're not the only group operating. So let us be clear, Brampton and Peel are being targeted precisely because our community is strong, successful, built on small business and family. We have created opportunity through hard work and perseverance, but criminal networks attempt to weaponize these same bonds using intimidation, threats, and extortions to spread fear and extract money. The reason for bringing up this topic is because British Columbia recently received federal task force funding dedicated to victim support and specialized enforcement teams to combat this exact same threat. As you mentioned, at a per capita rate particularly, Peel extortion rates exceed those numbers. So do our arrests, but so do the business-related extortions per capita. Yeah, we are left to carry a larger burden at the police level, at the regional level. This is not right. It's not sustainable, and it's definitely not safe. So the motion I'll be introducing is not about politics. It's about keeping our community safe. It's about protection. It's about standing up for the local restaurant owner who is terrified to open their store, the trucking operator forced to pay to stay safe, the families who no longer feel secure in their own neighborhood. We are asking for 3 clear, reasonable actions: dedicated federal task force funding for Peel, just like in BC, targeted victim support and community outreach funding, and formal intelligence sharing frameworks to disrupt these networks at their core. We are dedicated on calling the province to also stand with us by establishing a dedicated victim support fund, again, mirroring the BC model where the province and the federal government came together. Our residents deserve to feel safe when they go to work. Our businesses deserve to operate without fear. Our community deserves to know that every level of government is standing with them, not after the damage is done, but before another life is shattered. So let us be clear. Brampton will not be intimidated. Peel will not be abandoned. And Canada and the province must act now. Thank you. And moving on, I see Councillor Santos on the board.
Thank you through you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for all of your incredible work on this particular file, but also many other files that our community is challenged with. Quick question, and Deputy Mayor Singh kind of answered it. A couple of questions, actually. Is there, in the region of Peel, is there a concentration of this particular issue in Brampton? And if so, based on your investigations, why is that?
To answer your first question, the answer is yes. And your second question as to why, the region of Peel and Brampton, as Deputy Mayor mentioned, is a strong, vibrant community that is built on small business, people who have struggled and worked incredibly hard to become successful. And it's a target-rich environment. And then, of course, the demographics of the community, when we talk about, things like references to transnational crime groups, they're readily recognized as being a very legitimate concern. So you have 2 things that are being played upon. You have the success of the community, and the recognition of the risk that is posed by those extortions. You combine those together, and there's opportunity to benefit, unfortunately, through criminal activities. And you pull those elements together, and the outcome of that equation becomes we are on a per capita basis one of the highest jurisdictions in terms of extortions, particularly targeting businesses and small business.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for that response, Deputy Chief. And it's concerning to me that Deputy Mayor Singh has mentioned that there has been support and funding from the federal government, particularly to BC, but not necessarily to us here, particularly in a situation where we have the most number of extortions. I heard you say in the country. I'm happy to, through also FCM, and I know we passed a motion to work with FCM and the CACP for a National Public Safety Summit, because I think this is a topic that we need to talk about. But in addition to that, I don't know if this is on the radar yet. Do we know why there is some inequity in terms of looking at Peel for the federal government to support us in this issue?
I wouldn't be able to point to one particular thing, but what I would say is I'm cautiously optimistic. It's through motions and support like this. I know that our chief actually currently is in Ottawa having conversations about this very topic. And, you know, the old adage, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. I think this is, again, another opportunity for us to demonstrate that that's true and ask for what we need.
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Chair, I know in our last advocacy efforts in Ottawa, Mayor Brown, myself, Councillor Tour, Councillor Singh, Deputy Mayor Singh, who were there, we pushed on this, on the extortion file, but also the issues related to Pearson Airport and the fact that we are paying for that as well. I believe they're probably related somehow. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm happy to bring this to the FCM table as well for advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Santos, and that's an entirely additional topic about Pearson Airport and some of the additional screening and security that we think would be helpful. But I think that's for another advocacy point another day, that Nick is an encyclopedia of knowledge on as well. But our next question is from Councillor Fertini.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Nick, and all the team, what you do. I think our deputy mayor said it very well. You know, I did a tour, and I'm going to ask you again, a couple of weeks ago, and there was a shooting around the corner from where I live, and they were knocking doors 7:30 in the morning, looking at our cameras. Now, I know the mayor has been pushing very hard on these speeding cameras, but we have cameras of our own. And when I was at the tour, they have to make a call to get access, and wasting all that time. So what's going on why we cannot have access to these cameras when I seen a car being stolen that night? And if it wasn't for the call and someone answering and where they ran away after, they couldn't catch the person. And it's also safety for the police officer because of the eyes on the ground. And I know Councillor Santos, she also did a tour there, they told me. And it's without these cameras, we want to caught that person stealing that Lamborghini that night.
And thank you, Councillor. I appreciate it. Through you, Mr. Mayor. It's a great question, and this very topic came up in our last Police Services Board meeting, was answered by Deputy Chief O'Doherty, and I can say that we're working. We recognize that the City of Brampton has a very robust camera system, and as you said, many of the councillors, including the mayor, have been touring our Community Safety Operations Center. And one of the big factors to its success are the cameras. We're working on MOUs right now with the cities, both the City of Brampton and the City of Mississauga, to ensure that we can leverage those systems in a way that keep our community safe. And the ability to do that. We've already seen some success stories, as the mayor has pointed on the Couloir murder recently that happened in relation to an intimate partner violence event. Without the ability for us to track and leverage surveillance cameras and CCTV cameras, we might have not had the impact and the success we did in the timely fashion. So your comments are absolutely on point. We can appreciate them. We are doing our best to leverage those resources. We're making significant advancements in our Community Safety Operations Center and in technology with the thanks of obviously our regional council, our police services board, and things that we put into place as a result of previous budgets, and we continue to move the needle on that.
Yeah, and thank you. I was kind of, when that night I was there, I was kind of shocked that you have to ask permission and waste the time calling. You know, it doesn't cost taxpayers nothing. The cameras are there. It's safety. And, you know, it's also safety for the officer. When I seen there, the way it was done, it's the eyes on the ground for you. And I really feel the work you guys are doing, so thank you.
Yeah,
And
Councillor
we're all
Key,
happy to second the motion. I'm also happy.
I think we'll try to keep the questions to extortions, given the fact that there can be a very wide area of questions to ask the PRP on, and we do have a busy agenda today. But just for Councillor Fertini's knowledge, we will have a greater camera network in Brampton than anywhere else in the country because of the strategic decisions the city has made. And obviously you have to ask consent to get someone's Ring doorbell or Rogers security system footage, but based on the municipal cameras, we will have the greatest footprint in the country for a big city. Our next question is Councillor Brar.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor, and just thank you, Deputy Chief, for coming in to present that. I know this Sunday we just had that public town meeting confronting the threat. And I remember walking in and we had PRP, we had everyone on the table, and it was scary to walk in because you felt that fear amongst that group. Now, it was organized with the SICK organization. Just want to say thank you to them because it has been affecting them, but Deputy Chief, do you think it has been affecting certain minority groups? Because I do feel the Sikh community, especially in Brampton, has been coming together and feeling that they have been targeted.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the reality is we look at the demographics of our community, and then we talk about ownership of the small businesses being targeted. Definitely, it is more directly affecting certain segments of our community, but therein lies also, and you referenced the town hall meeting that we had on Sunday, I think therein lies the opportunity, because it's an incredibly active, supportive community that is willing to be vocal and ask for what they need in an informed way. So, you know, what I would also end with is got to be careful who you pick on.
And last question, so we do have media here, and I know they always hear about these extortion cases. Maybe someone's calling in for advice or calling into the council members. This is not the first time, obviously, we've had task force. Just want to say thank you to Mayor Brown, but Sikh Canadians have been living in fear for a while now, and these incidents definitely are not isolated. Again, just like Councillor Deputy Mayor was saying, it represents a broader security concern affecting entire families and neighborhoods, and is transnational repression. And this is a real issue that a lot of my colleagues in the community do feel about this, and that foreign intimidation on Canadian soil is not acceptable. So, with concerns with criminal networks and potential foreign involvement, including links to India with the Bishnoi gang, this must be taken seriously. I know there's actions PRP has been doing, working with the federal and provincial government. Can you maybe explain a little bit about that?
Definitely. As I mentioned, we have really, really strong relationships with our federal and provincial partners from an enforcement perspective. We also are the benefactors of strong relationships with provincial and federal political leadership, where we advocate for the changes that we need. A great example of that are the designation of certain groups as terrorist organizations. The mayor referenced the Bishnoi group. That, I believe, if you draw a dotted line, comes to some of the advocacy that originated here. So we're continuing to do that as well. And you're very right. The reality of community safety, not just here in Peel, but in Canada, is that the jeopardy is being caused by transnational polycrime groups who, very similar to legitimate businesses and corporations, are looking for an opportunity to generate proceeds, make money, But the difference is they don't have to operate by any rule book and are happy to break the law. So, you know, we are going to continue from an enforcement perspective to take that fight to wherever we need to in order to make sure that we do what people expect from us, which is arrest and charge the people that come to our communities to take advantage of them when we can.
Last question, sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. So if you can tell a lot of these extortion cases, maybe someone's going through it recently, what can you share with them to make them feel at ease?
What I would say to them is, first and foremost, please report. You know, we've shared some figures. I am certain that those figures don't represent what is actually occurring in the community. And so I would just ask our community to trust us. Please report those offenses to us. We are not a police service. We are your police service. And we're here to protect you. And we will do everything within our power in order to do that. And we're also willing to make requests of other enforcement agencies in order to make sure that they do their part as well. Please report, and please know that we're really good at investigating these offenses and investigating crimes. And, you know, the sooner we can catch a person, hold them accountable, the sooner we can prevent somebody else from experiencing the same experience.
Thank you.
Okay, next question is Councillor Tour.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Thank you, Nick, first of all, to you and the entire Peel Police team for the incredible work that you guys do on this. Just to the last point that you just said, just want to add to that. If I'm not wrong, 100% of the arrests and the charges that have been laid have been as a result of victims of extortion reporting to the police. So I think that is a very powerful tool where victims of extortion are often intimidated and scared, or just that notion in the public that, you know, the police can't do anything about this, so don't report about it. I think that is absolutely false. When 100% of the work that the Peel Police has been able to do so far has been directly working with victims and their families. So, Nick, thank you for all the incredible work that you do, and you're absolutely right. I think Brampton has been at the forefront of the advocacy on this. I still remember the winter of 2023 in December, when extortions had just risen up. I think we were at number 13 at that point. We all got on a phone together, and the next day, Peel Police, MPPs, MPs, City Council were all in a room together to talk about this as a serious issue. When I think, you know, other police forces across the country didn't even have eyes on it yet, Peel Police was at the front of this. To earlier this year, you know, I can attest to the incredible work of Peel Police, but also our federal partners. When we traveled to Ottawa, Mayor and myself, along with you and your colleagues, when we talked to Ruby Sahota, the Secretary for State for Combating Crime, Gary was in the room, and Minister Fraser was in the room, and they made a commitment to us in that room that we will be enlisting the Bishnoi Gang as a terrorist organization. Fast forward 2 months, and that's what they do. So incredible work on the advocacy front. I think, you know, my colleagues have alluded to the funding that the BC government has received from the federal government. I would say that, you know, people that live in BC are very fortunate to have a government represent them really well. When you look at Premier Rebby and the work he's done with the local community, local law enforcement, and advocating for British Columbians has been amazing. Sadly, in our province, I think our Premier has talked more about Crown Royal or speed cameras more than I've ever heard him talk about extortion. So I think we need to do a lot of work on the provincial front as well, where if our Premier can, I don't know if the Premier knows this is an issue or not. I know our local MPPs do. They've participated in local community town halls, local consultations, but I think it's about time our provincial government also stepped up and took some of this responsibility within our court systems, within, you know, the bail system that we have right now, with the federal government making more changes. In your presentation, that one slide where we're standing in a press conference, I think almost all of them are already out on bail. And that is not a knock on the work that police does. Police has worked really hard to put them behind the bars, but once they go through the court system and they're out already, I think we really need to see some improvements in there. That'll make some changes. Deputy Milinovic, just coming to a question here. You know, there's always rumors circulating around in the community, again, to cause fear in the public. So recently there's this rumor that, the extortion task force is getting disbanded. We're not going to have an extortion task force. Do you want to just address that?
Happy to do that, and very simply, not true. Extortion task force continues. Currently, we have 20 members that are assigned to investigate extortions, take those complaints, and we may add to that based on volume of work. What I would also like to say is, and a bit of a prelude to what's to come, we have additional members that are assigned to projects which are inclusive of extortions, but other types of crimes as well, that aren't included in that number of 20. And I look forward to making some of those announcements in the future.
No, definitely, and that's amazing to hear. I would be 100% supportive of Deputy Mayor Singh's motion here. I think it is the right call, and definitely we need all the help that we can get. Our city is on fire right now with this, and Peel Police is struggling with all the resources that you're throwing at it to combat this. I think we need our federal and our provincial partners to really step it up and help us suppress this fire in our city, because all our residents, all our business owners, they no longer feel safe. And it is a very sad state when you can't leave your house just because you drive a certain car. You can't even put a watch on your wrist. These are middle-class families. These are immigrants that came here to Canada, worked really hard, and got to where they got to. And when they're targeted for their hard work, it is very sad to see. But once again, just ending this with just a kudos to Peel Police, all the incredible work that you do just on the ground, but also across different government levels. You've advocated across the country. You've gone to the United States. You've worked with every single law enforcement agency. Just want to say a big thank you to you and everybody that puts their life at risk to keep us safe.
Last word to Deputy Mayor Singh.
I was just gonna move receipt so we could get to the motion because everybody's referring to it.
We move to accept the delegation, moved by Deputy Mayor Singh, second by Councillor Tour. All those in favor, motion carries. And we have the motion on the table from Deputy Mayor Singh.
Oh yeah, I'll read it.
It's a long motion. We have it on the screen. I think everyone can.
Yeah, maybe just go to the therefores. This was written with.
He did his comments. Yeah.
I'll read the therefores then maybe.
We already did in your comments.
Just four.
Then he wants to read it for you. Then will you read it for us?
Okay, I'll just go over the therefores. Therefore, be it resolved that a copy of this motion be shared with the Prime Minister, Minister of Public Safety, Premier Ford, and the Ontario Solicitor General. Therefore, that the Mayor send a letter to the Prime Minister and the Minister of Public Safety requesting that the federal government extend dedicated extortion task force funding to the region of Peel, mirroring BC's model, provide targeted victim support and community outreach funding, establish formal intelligence sharing frameworks for coordinated disruption of transnational networks, that the Mayor send a letter to Premier Ford and the Ontario Solicitor General requesting that the province work with the Government of Canada to establish a dedicated victim support fund mirroring the funding model of BC.
Okay, all those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. This takes us to our next item. Oh, we all, government, motion to receive the government relations report. Moved by Councillor Tour, second by Councillor Power. All those in favor, motion carries. Our next item to the clerk. Okay, Tanya.
Good morning, Mayor Brown, City Councilors, City staff, and everyone here today. We can all agree that we need to build affordable housing. Our inclusionary zoning policy will only provide a maximum of 5%. That's capped by the provincial government. The Association of Municipalities of Ontario, or AMO, basically encourages rental replacement bylaws to be passed because it will require the protection of affordable housing, including tenants returning to the development at relatively the same rent, tenant relocation and compensation when existing rental homes are demolished. The Ontario Human Rights Commission also supports rental replacement bylaws because it will save people that are particularly vulnerable in cases of demolition, such as low-income tenants, people with disabilities, and seniors. It will protect them when they're faced with demolition. Passing the plan for 507 Balmoral without a rental replacement bylaw would mean that tenants wouldn't be able to ever return to the development. An off-site unit or another unit provided by the landlord would just be moving them to a different spot. It's not the same as the right to return. The coverage of moving costs and rent gap payments, or what they're going to pay in market rent on displacement, isn't included in any provincial legislation. The developer would receive the waiving of development charges, no HST, inclusionary zoning will actually provide 0% in this case of affordable units being built. It hasn't really been specified whether condos or rentals will be built. That really hasn't been determined yet. Development really has the capacity to be responsible. It should be responsible. We're not saying don't build, we're saying build responsibly. Take care of the people that you displace. And building housing really shouldn't make people homeless. Thank you.
Okay, I believe that there is a representative here from Lankin Investments. Is Kyle Hume here? Yep. Floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Is there any questions that I can answer specifically?
No. Councilor Fortin, do you have a question? He's one of Oh, sorry, Councilor Power.
Thank you. Through the mayor, maybe Kyle, you can take us through some of the things that Lankin plans to do with 507 Balmoral.
Yeah, for sure. So maybe I'll start off by saying we are a large institutional landlord. We have over 6,000 units in Southern Ontario, over 1,000 units here in Brampton. And so, with that being said, we take these changes, of course, from a unit perspective or an asset perspective very seriously. We've shared with residents already, and we plan on doing things that go well above and beyond the requirements of the city or that of the Rental Tenancy Act in the LTB. So some things, we're considering, and again, it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. A lot can happen between now and 5+ years, or whatever that may look like in terms of actual development. So it's hard to say concretely what we're going to do now, but we have every intention to do things above and beyond than what our legal requirements are. Some things we're looking at doing is, because we're such a large landlord, we have leasing services. So we can provide every resident with an opportunity to be attached to a leasing agent and find a new home. Secondly, help pay for the cost of moving, transferring to another residence. And I think equally, and probably most importantly, as a large landlord, the last thing we want is for someone to become homeless because of us going forward with the development. So we'd be looking at relocating individuals into our existing population of rental units in Brampton to make sure that homeless issues do not take place. So, we have a commitment to the city of Brampton and to the community and to our organization to ensure that we're doing the right things, not the wrong things.
Anything additional, Councilor Power?
Can you just speak again to timeline?
Yeah, so again, right now we're at a point where, we don't know exactly when and if the development will take place. So I can't comment on specific timelines of the when, but What I can share, and this is our process from the day one, is to be proactive with our residents and communicate with them every step along the way when things and if things are going to take place. Giving them ample time to work with us to find a new place to live and or support them in moving them into a different unit within our portfolio. Again, this would be on a unit by unit or individual by individual basis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Fertini.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Kyle. So I have nothing against the building part, displacement, and I get that. But I was there a while back, and I was there last night. And, you know, the way you're collecting the rent until the next step. And I believe the residents have the right to be accommodated while they're paying the rent. And it was pretty disappointing last night when there's no heat, no hot water, pails underneath the sinks. They have to dump in the bathtub. Mildew. It reminds me of a movie 35 years ago. Joe Pesci did The Super. It was really bad. And you don't even have a super there. They have to call a number, hoping people call you back. You have to pay $15 for visitors parking. If someone wants to have a visitor over, have to pay. So while you're collecting the rent until you get to the next stage, we have to provide the necessary steps for the way these people live. I was shocked last night, walking around with all those residents. Elevator doesn't work. People stuck on the 4th floor, senior, on a wheelchair. Like, I don't really know what to say for those people. I really don't, because it was really, really bad.
Yeah.
So, you know, you know, I'm a tenant myself. I have a couple of homes. If something's leaking, I go there and I get it fixed. But we can't have people living with no heat. It was cold in that apartment last night when I was there. And I feel for those people. Like, where are we living here? This is Brampton. Like, I don't know what to say. It just, you know, it's all talk. I call the number. You have a machine, hoping to call you back in a week. Carpets, everything's a mess there. Now, I get the building's old, but at least keep the standard for these people to live in comfortable. I don't know how they live. I'm going to get them all together and say, maybe we got to open an accounting trust, put the money there, and we'll have to take legal action. All 50 condos there, like, there's not one good one. I'm sorry.
Councillor Fertini, would you like me to respond? Yeah. So just to level set, we do have minimum standards, and we do have a superintendent that is on site, not full-time, but they are on site servicing that building. We have a community manager and a property manager as well that services that property. You know, since we've acquired the building in 2022, we've spent over $450,000 in repairs and maintenance on that property to maintain that standard. So I hear you loud and clear that there's always issues and challenges that happen in a property. But we are spending money and taking serious action to ensure that that asset meets our requirement. Again, as a property manager that has several units across the Brampton area and beyond in Southern Ontario. I hear your points, I hear your concerns. I'm going to take it upon myself after this meeting to follow up to make sure that if there's anything outstanding. But again, we have a minimum standard that we have to achieve. And we expect that to be done at all times.
And I'm glad. And look, you tell me you have a super. There's no super there. You have to call a number, hoping to call you back. I was there. A question about it, but, you know, I'm hoping that moving forward, we get heat. You know, there's a couple of apartments there. Like I said, there's a pail underneath the sink. The rads are leaking. Some of them are not working. If I wipe my hands on the wall on the 4th floor, it's black. That's mold. The roof is leaking. The fans are not working. And I know construction. And the rads are all leaking there. So how are you going to get heat when you got the water? Because you're getting air in the pipes. That means the boiler's not working. So half heat, half don't. Because there's 2 boiler systems in there. So at least let's try to keep the standard for them to live a little bit more comfortable. That's all.
Understood.
Okay, we have a motion moved by Councillor Power and Fertini to receive the delegations. All those in favor? Motion carries. This takes us to our next item, which is, 10.2.1. Someone held amendments to administrative penalty systems. Remind me, who held that? Councillor Tor. Yes.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Brown, I was just looking at the changes that are coming to the levels of penalties. If I can just hear from staff on why some of these changes are happening right now, if there's something I missed about that, or just a level of changes as well. Like there's multiple tables that show what kind of fines are changing now, and then there are some that started at $250 now all the way up to $1,000. Like it's a 4-time increase. I'm just trying to understand why such a drastic increase in some of the fines.
Thank you, and through the mayor.
And if you, sorry, and Madam Clerk, if you could put up that table, that chart of the fine increases on the screen. Thank you. That's attachment 1. Yes, thank you.
Through the chair. Thank you, Councillor. It's just in reviewing the, annually we review our penalties, and this is just an effort to increase compliance and put the onus on people that are not compliant as opposed to licensed landlords. It's focusing on the violations as opposed to the ones that are compliant.
Okay, if you can, Madam Clerk, just scroll down a little bit. There's one that I see had a very drastic change from $250 to $1,000. If you can go down further. Right here. Yeah, you see, in the current system, the first offenses started $250. We're increasing them 4 times to $1,000.
So those are occupancy ones, and that was to bring them in line with, and it's escaping me what we were bringing them in line. It's with another type of an offense. One moment.
Good morning. Through the chair to Councillor Tour. We raised the fines from $250 to the $1,000 to bring it in line with the other fines related to the risk associated with the violation. So if you read, this is for causing the person to occupy a room for sleeping purposes, not in accordance with the bylaw. So it has not been, there was no building permit to create this bedroom. If we took a living room and converted it into a bedroom, it doesn't meet the requirements of the safety components required for the room. That's why we raised it from the amount of $250 to the $1,000.
Okay, I understand like the compliance that it's trying to achieve. My hesitation is just seeing a 4 times jump from $250 to $1,000 in first offense. Like there's some of these fines have like, they're not even just like incremental increases. This is like 2x, 3x, 4x increases. Like, I don't know if that's what the sentiment on the council is, that we're not fining people enough or we're not collecting enough revenue and fines, but like that is a massive jump. That, I don't know, I need to have better rationale than just to say that we need people to come to compliance, which everybody agrees with. But jumping from $250 to $1,000 is a massive.
And Director Higgs, maybe I can better respond to this as well, is it does relate to a budget matter as well. And so when we were looking at the budget and the cost of building code and fire inspections, a decision was made in proposing the 2026 budget, similar to 2025, that bad actors should pay. And so we made a decision to have no fee for RL. I think that was the feedback we received from the community. They didn't want RL to be viewed as a cash cow for the city. It's just about safety. It's not about revenue. So we waived the fee in last year's budget. We're continuing it in this year's budget. I can tell you in advance, the 2026 budget will have no fee for RL. But the question becomes then who pays for, if someone calls in and says, this house is an illegal unit, it does not meet fire code, it does not meet building code, it's a rooming house. those fines will pay for the cost of sending our city inspectors there. And so you'll notice an increase in these fines. You're also going to see an increase in the fire fines. And I think when you look at the fire budget, and maybe Bill can speak to that as well, you'll see a pretty significant increase if you're caught with something that would be identified as a fire trap against Ontario's fire code. Those are the two areas of increases. Bad actors pay, good landlords don't. We know 95% of landlords are great, and it's just the few ones who are bad actors that they should bear the cost of the staff resources.
Thank you for that clarification, Mayor Brown. Again, that goes back to the same point that this does seem like, you know, we're trying to make up for some revenue here or some cost recovery on enforcement action that's needed in the city, which I understand. But again, going from $250 to $1,000 is a massive increase. What's the benchmarking with other cities when it comes to the similar kind of offenses and fines? Like, where do we sit? Like, are other cities giving out $1,000 fines on the first offense?
Through the chair, I would have to do some background on that to give you an accurate answer.
So I would say let's do that homework before we come out with these numbers. Because if I go out to my residents of this and they say, well, City of Brampton, like, here's the fines that we pay on a first offense. And again, I would still give somebody a benefit of doubt on the first offense and say, maybe they didn't know better, or maybe whatever's going on, give them, that's their opportunity to come into compliance, fix it. But if their first fine is coming at $1,000 in today's economy where people can't buy food, we're talking about metamorphosis, we're talking about food banks, we're doing these Christmas drives, toy drives, food drives, all of that. And then we come out and penalize residents with their first offense for $1,000. And there's some other offenses I saw in there. I think the parking offenses are going up as well. Again.
So through the chair, I can advise the parking offenses, those are in line with the city of Mississauga. That's how those numbers were taken. We were noticeably lower than our neighbor.
Okay, so if we've done the homework on that,
We
as
have.
benchmarking,
Yes.
we need to do benchmarking on all the other offenses as well. And if that is the norm in every municipality, everybody that lives in the GTA is treated the same, I'm happy to do that, no problem. But if Brampton residents are going to be penalized much higher than anybody else if they lived in a different city, I'm not okay with that. I can't explain that to my residents on this. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Councillor Santos.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. And I support the mayor's efforts in the budget to increase these fines and as well as the fire code violation fines. I was briefed on this as Chair of Legislative Services yesterday and had a few questions. And in fact, as a local councillor who has seen the RRL piloted in wards 1 and 5, I have seen a significant improvement in our neighborhoods, in safety issues, in a reduction of complaints regarding illegal rental units. And so question to staff, based on what I learned in my briefing yesterday, if there is a suspected illegal rental or any of these different things where the fines are being increased, does bylaw in the first complaint try to contact the landowner to give them a heads up and seek compliance before any fine is issued? If it's their very first complaint.
Through the chair, certainly each investigation is taken on its own merits. So I would caution that each is on its own merits, but we absolutely do try to gain compliance with education and take the history of the property into account when we're deciding on which course of action. It should be reiterated, the absolute goal is compliance and safety. What gets us there fastest is the route that we will take.
And so I know in wards, in the piloted areas, as per the report and information that was shared before, like last week, the amount of compliance has improved significantly. And, yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Through the chair, yes, it has.
Yeah.
And we expect that to continue.
Yeah, so where there were illegal ARUs or rentals that were non-compliant, they are now in compliance. And what I have observed, and Councillor Keenan has observed, are now we are really weeding out the bad actors. The really bad ones who don't care about the $250 fine, the $500 fine, they don't care. And I continue personally spending my weekends doing spot checks in neighborhoods, knocking on doors, and the tenant will open the door and I will see mattresses in the kitchen. And despite that particular property or properties, I know for a fact receiving fines in the past. And so I think the intention, to the mayor's point earlier, is to ensure that the bad actors pay the consequences and feel it, but also that they pay for these ongoing repeat inspections. That is wasting city resources and time, whether that's by law enforcement or building or fire. Because it's expensive to send staff over there over and over again to the same property that doesn't care about a $250 fine. So I just wanted that clarification. I just wanted to share that because I certainly was briefed on this yesterday, and because it is the mayor's budget, I definitely support the increases to the fines.
Councilor Medeiros.
Thank you through you, Mayor. I do appreciate Councillor Torres' comments. However, I do agree, I'm fully supportive of this budget, of these fines. We in Wards 3 and 4, Councillor Keenan and myself, we've heard consistently pleas to increase fines, pleas to weed out the bad actors. I agree with Mayor Brown that we can't turn a blind eye to the fire code and all the legislation that really talks about safety. And, you know, certainly it's a frustration for our residents, and maybe it's a perspective, you know, that other councillors have across the city, but in Wards 3 and 4, you know, residents are really frustrated, they're angered, and, you know, I think this sends another signal. It's just part of another package that we're heavy-handed on this, and we will continue to fight for, you know, quality of life of Brampton residents. So I thanks everyone's leadership, Councillor Keenan, Councillor Santos, Mayor Brown, for the leadership on this file, everyone who was involved with RRL, and I think this helps support our efforts in RRL. The only thing I would say, maybe to speak to some of the concerns from Councillor Torres, which I think are valid, I understand that perspective. From a communication perspective, I think we need to really share with the community that these fines have increased. This is what you're dealing with now. I don't want, you know, it's one thing to be punitive, but we don't want to do it in a way where people are not prepared for it. So people should be fully aware of the consequences. So I would hope that communications work in tandem with you and have a really robust communication on this. And that's the only thing I would say, but I do fully support the fines here. Thank you.
Actually, you know, that's a great point, Councilor Medeiros. Looking to communications, I'm sure Natalie's watching this. Like parking interfering with snow clearing. It's been a big pain point for us. But let's put advertising out. The winter's about to start. Let everyone know the fines are doubled. That might be preventative deterrence to that obstruction. The big increases to fire violations. Let's advertise that. We had all the cultural media here today. Let's make sure we put this out there so the public knows. I think this increase should coincide with that advocacy, and I think it would be well received in the public to know that we're taking this seriously. Councillor Keenan.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. Fully supportive of the increase, like Councillor Medeiros has said. Our residents have been asking for this over and over again, so thank you to staff for listening to us, who are listening to them. You know, and we're seeing definite change. We're 100%. The community's seeing it. And the program is working. So kudos goes to everybody, and this is just another step. And Councillor Tour did bring up some good points in the benchmarking. And I know that this is tough to benchmark because we're kind of pioneers. So I think other municipalities will be benchmarking us when they pick up on this program that we've done so very well with. So I can see where that might be a struggle. We're trying to find that balance. And given the fact that we've been doing this a couple of years now, I think we know where these fines need to be to get in compliance. And let's keep in mind, nobody has to pay these fines. Just be compliant. Be a law abiding. That's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to do a cash grab and go out and try to make money here. We're going out to try to ensure that when people are not taking these things serious, that they are being fined for it where it actually matters. So fully supportive of this. Appreciate the benchmarking that is done, that could be done, knowing that this isn't something we can benchmark, because we always say we're a different beast here in Brampton when it comes to ARUs, when it comes to the RRL program. And we are kind of leading the way, and I do anticipate other municipalities will be following us, and then they'll be benchmarking their fines against ours. So fully supportive of this in every way, and I know that the residents in 3 and 4 that are, myself and Councilor Medeiros, will be very pleased to see this come forward, and 1 and 5.
Councilor Fertini.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm full support of it. You know, where I look at the parking of the sidewalk overhanging the curbs, I wish we could increase that a lot more, because now it's gonna really affect our snowplow. We got some of these roads, they can barely get by. So, yeah, $30 is not enough. I think we should raise it a lot more. And like Councilor Keenan said, nobody tells you to get the tickets if you're parked right.
So, Councilor Fertini, we are raising, if you look at the park interference snow clearing, going from 125 to 250 for a first offense, 250 to 500 for a second offense, and 500 to 750 for a third offense. So these are some of the most significant increases.
Clear. I'm talking about the parking overhanging of the curb. Will that affect the snow, that follows under the parking with the snow clearing?
Yeah, and the one thing I would just say, and we're having this conversation, it's healthy, at the same time, I assume bylaw will always be reasonable. And if someone's having a moving day, or if there is some reasonable, a resident just want us to be reasonable. And so I hope there's, in this strict approach, there's also that grain of reasonableness. We have, City Solicitor wants to speak to this?
Sure, through you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to add that the fee increases are effective January 1st as well. Actually, 18.6 and 18.7 should have an amendment with respect to that. So that adds to the communication piece as well, your robust communication piece. January 1st is effective.
Councillor Power.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Rob, are we going to be increasing proactive patrols, or is this going to be solely complaint-based?
Through the chair, we're consistently increasing proactive patrols. How we're doing our enforcement is separate from the fines that we give. So we're continuing to do intelligence-led resource deployment, and we're doing call response as well.
Okay, Councillor Keenan.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Fertini kind of brought up a good point that I'm looking at here. So when you park obstructing a sidewalk, first offense is 50, 70, 100. One of the biggest issues that we have is that in the winter months, would they be fined for obstructing snow?
Through the chair, yes. I was going to clarify that. Yes, if they're interfering with the snow, it's a different section.
Right, so if it's snowing and they're parking over that sidewalk, they get the bigger fine over that one, correct?
Through the chair, when you see the park overhanging curb, you can look at that as a preventative measure. It's just you're overhanging, you get the ticket. If it's during a snow event, you're getting the larger ticket because it's a snow event.
And the same goes with the sidewalk.
Yes, that is true.
Great, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Councillor Santos.
I'm sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor. So further clarification on that one. Okay, so just building on that, and then I have another question. If a resident complains on 311 website that it is a parking issue related to an overhang, and the enforcement officer arrives, and in fact, to Councillor Keenan and Councillor Powers' point, it's actually a snow parking complaint. Will the enforcement officer issue it as a snow complaint, or the original thing that the resident complained about on 311, which was an overhang?
Through the chair, regardless of the specific what the call is, the officer will do the investigation and charge the appropriate. So in that case, it would be the snow removal piece.
Perfect. And then back to the proactive enforcement and first offenses now that we're assuming we are increasing fines. So just for my colleagues' awareness, will another letter be going out to all of the various properties that received a complaint on their property to advise them that moving forward, they're going to get a fine and the fine is going to be a lot higher this time next year?
Through the chair, our success rate on those letters was phenomenal. We will again be deploying that, and we'll be using it in different facets of our enforcement as well, including what you've mentioned.
Perfect. And so through you, Mr. Chair, even with that letter and that success of the letter last year and then us doing again this year, I'm really hopeful and that we are going to weed out even more of the bad actors. And now with increased fines for next year, we'll definitely be dealing with those really, really bad apples as well. Thank you.
Councilor Brar.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, just a clarification. So just want to be sure that, you know, we've had winter storms before. So when there's a complaint about an overhang during these time periods where the driveways do get really small, so would that also be part of that? Just for clarification, I know you just described that, but I just want to make sure that I'm getting this properly.
If it's an interference with snow removal, that'll be the appropriate charge. So yes.
Okay.
Thank you. We have the motion on the floor, moved by Councillor Keenan, seconded by Councillor Santos. All those in favor? Motion carries. And noted that Councillor Tour opposed. And that was a healthy discussion. Our next item to the clerk. (12.2) Planning Development Committee minutes. Sorry, which one? Committee of, we have. That'd be 12.1. Oh, so on the paper it says, okay.
November 26th he wants.
Okay, and this is held by Councilor Medeiros.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I held this item because I just wanted to express my opposition to the surplus. I think notwithstanding, it's an employment cluster, it's an important I think has a lot more potential. I think strategically, it's a piece. I've represented that area since 2015. And again, I just think because of the redevelopment on Queen Street, on Rutherford, and I know the second part of the conversation is more at the region in terms of its intended use. And it's not a fait accompli. We'll still have conversations there. But I just, I can't support it. Just because I think there's either recreational opportunities or economic development considerations. So I would just like to ask for a recorded vote on this item.
Okay, but everything else in the minutes you're fine with? Sorry? Everything else in the minutes you're? Yeah. Okay, so let's take a recorded vote on this item, and then we can vote on the remainder separately. Okay, so on this item, to the clerk, recorded vote.
Okay, recorded vote. All those in favor of the motion on the screen as it is, please rise. And I see Councillor Power, Councillor Tour, Mayor Brown, Councillor Keenan, Councillor Santos, Councillor Vicente, and all those opposed, please rise. I see Councillor Medeiros, Councillor Fortini, and councillors online. Councillor Paleshi, how do you vote?
In favor.
And that's it.
In favor.
Thank you, Councillor. That motion is carried.
In favor.
Councillor Barr is in favor as well.
Okay. So the motion carries. To the remainder of the Committee of Council, Councillor Tour.
Thank you, through you, Mayor Brown. I just want to talk to the item on the RL expansion citywide. I wasn't present for this meeting, so I wasn't able to share my vote on this. I know earlier this year we had already got a report on the RL expansion, and it got expanded out to 2 additional wards within the pilot. And that's how I hoped that we would see how that pilot plays out. But right now, seeing that it is expanding citywide, I'm not in favor of that. So I'll like that vote to be recorded as well. But in addition to that, I just also have questions from staff. Because today is when we, that's in
So
November.
if we could just take 1 second, if we could ask the clerk to find which aspect of the minutes you're referring to.
Sure. Sorry, I don't.
Councillor Torres, it's in the November 26 minutes?
It is a notice of motion.
Oh, the notice of motion.
You know, why don't we have Councillor Tour ask his questions, and we can try to find the specific item number so we can put it up on the screen.
Sure. A question maybe to Acting Commissioner Tamming, since IT is under you. Since this is for ratification today, our website already reflects that the expansion has happened citywide. Why is that the case when it's not been ratified yet today?
Sorry, Councillor, can you just repeat the question?
While this motion that was passed on November 26th to expand the RL program citywide is to be ratified today, it's not been ratified yet. Why does our city website reflect that change already without ratification? If you go to the City of Brampton website for the RL program, it already shows that it's a citywide program. Why was that change reflected on the website without ratification here at council?
Is this through the media release or through the?
No,
the
on the RL website. You can have the time to look it up.
Okay, I'll look into that. and get
Yeah,
back to
because
you.
I'm just trying to understand the procedure. Like, I would assume like we typically wait for ratification, a bylaw to be enacted before we make that change for residents' information when they go online. So right now we don't have, and I don't know how long the website's been like that.
Okay.
That's a fair point.
I'll get some more information and I can get back to you. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to hear that at the next council meeting on what the process is on changes to our website and how we get information out, because that is misinforming our residents. And that is irresponsible for us as a corporation to do that before we have ratification. Once this ratifies today, no problems with it, but that's just totally not fair.
Okay, understood.
I'd like to hear that, yeah.
I think I could give a little bit of detail in general when things are, I'm pretty sure, so cognizant maybe in absence, but generally when things are unanimous at committee, if there's a pertinent reason to get it out in a quick fashion, we do that when it, and that's, we've had that for a number of years on a number of different items. But we can revisit it as well if there's an appetite for that.
And I'd like to know if you've been asked to get this message out in a quick fashion without waiting for ratification or enactment of a new bylaw. So I'd like to know that as well at next council meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, I think that's a fair request. Councillor Santos.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. So for clarification, because Councillor Tour was absent at that meeting of Committee of Council, that was a motion that originally Councillor Keenan and I brought forward. And in fact, it was seconded by all members of committee who were present. So all members of committee were present and they seconded, they moved the motion, we moved it all together, which is why I believe corporate services or whomever does the website assumed that that would be the case as per precedent issues in the past.
No, thank you for that attempted clarification, but I'd like that from staff at next council meeting. Thank you.
I think that's fair. It should be ratified first, and so I think that's a good catch by Councillor Tour.
Record a vote on this, please.
Okay, recorded vote on the RRL.
And mind you, just for clarification, if this motion does not pass, Madam Clerk, just for clarification, then whatever the previous council decision was, I think back in September or August, I don't remember, earlier this year, that still stays in place, correct?
I would have to look at the decision you're speaking about. It's just what's
That,
on
that,
screen.
that
will-
decision was to expand the RRL pilot program to Ward 2 and Ward 8. So I'm
That
just
would
getting a nod
stand.
from the commissioner. That's what it would state, right? Like, this doesn't do there's no attempt here to undo any of the previous work that's been done on the RRL.
So a recorded vote for the motion. Oh, sorry, Mayor.
Yeah, no, record a vote, is the request.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion on screen, please rise. I see Councillor Medeiros, Councillor Fortini, Councillor Power, Deputy Mayor Singh, Mayor Brown, Councillor Keenan, Councillor Santos, Councillor Vicente. All those opposed, please stand. I see Councillor Tour. And online, Councillor Paleshi, how do you vote?
In favor.
And that motion is carried. Mayor Brown.
Okay, thank you. This takes us, and a motion to approve the minutes moved by Councillor Vicente, seconded by Councillor Power. All those in favor, the minutes are carried. Okay, to our next item. To the clerk, next one held is,
The 12.3, the planning minutes were held, but I believe that was for the delegations.
Yes.
So we just need a motion to
okay, motion moved by Councillor Paleshi as Chair of Planning, and Councillor Power. All those in favor? Motion carries. 14.1, I believe you want to take this item into camera, don't you? Okay. Okay, any public questions, those here today? Are there any online submitted?
I don't see any online, Mayor Brown.
Okay, this takes us to our bylaws. I have a motion moved by Councillor Santos, seconded by Councillor Vicente to approve bylaws 198, 2025 to 214.
Sorry, sir, the last two bylaws on our list, 18.16 and 18.17, need a minor amendment.
So we say as amended?
As amended for those two.
Okay.
But the
As
rest
amended for
as
those two?
presented. Just to
Okay.
clarify the date of passage
Okay.
and the date of
Great. Okay.
enactment.
And this is proposed by Councillor Santos and Vicente. All those in favor? Motion carries. This takes us to our in-camera items. I have a motion moved by Councillor Medeiros, seconded by Councillor Tour, to move into closed session to deal with the following items. And the clerk, the items are going into closed session for our,
To you, Mayor Brown, we're going into closed for 19.6 under section 239(2)E and F of the Municipal Act, 19.7 under section 239(2)J of the Municipal Act, 19.8 under section 239(2)D of the Municipal Act, and 19.9 under 239(2)B of the Municipal Act.
Okay.
19.9 was the added item.
okay, all those in favor? Motion carries. And how long will the clerk need? 10 minutes. So we'll return at 11:32 in camera.
Okay, it's 1:00. We're just gonna return. In the continuing interest of transparency and open government, I will have the clerk report in public session any outcomes from today's closed session business.
Through you, Deputy Mayor Singh, in closed session, items 19.1, 19.2, 19.3, and 19.4 were approved on consent and were not discussed in closed session. Item 19.5 was approved on consent, including direction that the following motion be considered in open session. That staff be directed to prepare an amendment to the sign bylaw as amended for council's consideration regarding digital billboard signs.
Okay, so there's one motion.
We'll get a mover and seconder
Yep.
for this, and then the next.
Okay, thank you. So I have a motion moved by Councillor Brar and seconded by Councillor Vicente. All in favor? Motion carries.
Through you, Chair, item 19.6 was considered in closed session and direction was given. Item 19.7 was considered in closed session, including direction that the following motion be considered in open session. That staff be directed to prioritize revenue-generating opportunities, and that staff that council approve in-kind communications support on the City of Brampton-owned channels valued up to $250,000 to enhance Metamorphosis reach and visibility within the community.
Before we vote on that, can we just go to the first motion? Just, I saw something. Okay, got it, sorry. Okay, we have a motion moved by Councillor Brar and seconded by Councillor Keenan. All in favor? Motion carries.
And through you, Chair, item 19.8 and 19.9, both items were considered in closed session and direction was given for each.
Thank you. And next is our confirming bylaw. I have a motion moved by Councillor Keenan and seconded by Councillor Medeiros to approve the confirming bylaw to confirm the proceedings and decisions from this meeting. All in favor? Motion carries. Our last item of business is item 21, adjournment. Council is next scheduled to meet Wednesday, January 21st, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. I have a motion moved by Councillor Vicente and seconded by Councillor Medeiros to adjourn today's meeting. All in favor? Motion carries, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.